Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How you doing? I hope you're good, and I'm grateful as always to have you here with me. We have a special guest today. He's coming to Honolulu for two big concerts, February 16th and 17th at the Blaisdell Arena, two of the most highly anticipated shows in the islands in years. Last summer, I was lucky to see him on the tour at Madison Square Garden, brought you back pictures from that show. And this gifted artist's website, you can see many of his photographs, as well as in his recent book of photography, I'll Be Watching You. You can also learn more about him in his insightful One Train Later book. It is an honor to welcome an inventive, celebrated solo artist and member of the Police, guitarist Andy Summers. Aloha, brother Andy.
Aloha.
Big mahalo for taking some time, and how has Australia been so far?
Well, we've had a great time down here. We've got two shows to go tonight and tomorrow. We're in Western Australia in Perth. But it's been great, as it always is down here.
Is there any sort of difference? Your tour has taken you to a lot of different kinds of venues, a lot of arenas that hold 15,000, 20,000 people, but then some giant stadiums too, where it's 70,000, 80,000 people. Is there something different that's involved mentally for doing one of those gigs, or is it just the same thing for you?
Well, there is a difference, obviously, physically size between stadiums and arenas. This tour, New Zealand, Australia, has mostly been in stadiums. We've played a mix, actually mostly stadiums over the last year or so. Well, let's see, we started really gigging at the beginning of May last year, and, of course, we were rehearsing together, a couple of months before that. But interesting, for me, definitely arenas are much better to play in. There's absolutely no question. There's a psychological difference, which it comes down to the size, the fact that when you're in the arena, which usually somewhere 18, 19,000, 20,000, they're sort of in that number. It's like a big club, and you can see the people. The lighting works differently, and the fact that you can see the people and feel their presence so much closer to you physically generally tends to make us play better, or not. We always obviously play to a certain standard, but it tends to be more exciting. It's more visceral. Whereas stadiums, you're on these huge stages, and you're very high up, and you really basically play to blackness. You really can't see anything, which psychologically is very strange. You're feeling like you're trying to go through all the stage antics and look like you're passionately involved in the music, but it's almost as if you're doing it to no one. There's the ego trip of we're playing to a stadium, there's 80,000 people out there, but it's actually quite weird. Personally, I'd much rather do multiple nights in an arena. I think we've all come to that conclusion that it's a better place to see the music,
Oh, and definitely, and the place that you're playing here is a tiny arena too, the Blaisdell.
Yeah. But actually, that will make it probably very good gigs. And actually, the ones that we're going to do there in Honolulu are the last two of this leg of the tour, which has been basically New Zealand, Southeast Asia, Japan, and Hawaii. Before we take a 2-month break and then go into the summer. But so I expect we'll be giving it a bit of extra oomph in Honolulu.
We always love a little extra oomph.
Yeah.
Does this tour, not this leg of it, but the tour in general, the Police reunion, does it have an official ending? It seems to me it just keeps growing.
Well, it has. It's I think originally it was just going to be in the summer of last year, and then it went to all through Europe, and then they added dates in the States. These things were all sort of penciled in, and I think the way we started was to see how it would go, but it was so overwhelmingly successful and popular that you'd be kind of stupid not to continue. So we ended up going through South America and this leg, and now in fact it goes right until next August. And I think it's completely justifiable because we seem to be selling the tickets almost instantly. So it's gone a lot longer than was originally planned. But
will it go past this coming August?
Well, I don't know. The way it is with our band, our setup, is that we tend to leave things sort of open. Let's see where it goes. It's supposed to end in August, but already that summer portion has, as far as I understand it from yesterday's news, it's gone from 35 to 48 shows and probably growing. So, God, I don't know. I mean, it's supposed to end in August. I suppose it's possible that it could continue. I think, maybe during the 2 months off, we'll see, how everybody feels.
Sure. I know one thing that'll happen is you're probably going to end up with the ability to do another photo exhibit, kind of like the I'll Be Watching You, because you've got to be getting so many pictures.
Yes, I just came out of Sydney. I had a fabulous photograph show open there, a very nice evening, and that's running for a month in Sydney, and then the next one is in Tokyo. I think it begins at the end of next week. That's going to be crazy, I think. And it goes on. Obviously, because I have this book out called I'll Be Watching You, which is all the photography I did in the early incarnation of the band, and I sort of photographed it from the inside, from the day we started till the day we finished, basically. So I had a rather unique document that came to light 20 years later, but I got this book out that actually coincided with the tour, which was totally unplanned. But of course, it put a lot of heat into it, and so the sort of traveling photography show has become rather popular. It just seems to be going on, and along with that, of course, I've photographed in pretty much all the time on the tour. Though I don't think I could do a book quite like that again. It's a different experience this time.
Yeah. Well, I saw you once already. I went because I'm a huge Police fan, and I didn't know if you would make your way out here, so I went and saw Madison Square Garden last summer, and I remember you had the photos there. There was an exhibit going at Madison Square Garden.
Well, we did, we somebody came up with the idea. It was not my idea to put the photographs up in Madison Square Garden itself, which I thought was kind of unique.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever do that.
It's very cool.
So I actually never did go up to see them because it didn't, I was, down in the bowels in the dressing room. But it's just kind of, it's a sort of nice thing about, being out doing this reunion tour that's so successful, and yet at the same time having this these photographs traveling around that show us, in the early years of the struggle to make it, and the grittiness of the life we were, it's kind of a paradox. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody else has done anything quite like it, but it certainly added a little sort of quirky zip to the tour that's, not what most people do.
And a bonus for fans going to see the show.
Yeah, it's great, and I met a lot of nice people. I mean, it's all very pleasant, and it wasn't something that I particularly pushed, I got the book out, and the way it sort of started was that we thought, well, let's try a show, because let's try a show in Los Angeles, and, putting up a photo exhibition is a lot of work, and, I had to have people help me do it. I've done it quite a lot in the past, but doing that at the same time I was playing in the band and being so involved was a bit much, so
Sure.
I had to have people help me. But we tried one out in LA as a sort of experiment, and it was very successful, and then somebody else wanted to take it on to Las Vegas, and then it went to Miami, and then the sort of word got out, and it's actually gone through about 15 cities now and continuing on. So my job, basically all I do is, everything gets shipped, put on the walls, curated, so on and so forth by various galleries, and I just turn up on the opening night where we're there and get my picture taken. It's very nice.
It's a good bit.
But, of course, I did do all the work. I mean, I say that, but, of course, I worked very, very hard to create that body of work. While I was being a guitarist in the Police at the same time. So that's my life.
No, it is, and another great aspect of your life is the writing. And when you're on tour, do you not write, or are you writing a little bit?
Well, it's harder, I mean, here we are, on tour. This is a big rock tour, and, you're traveling all the time. I mean, it's not so much physically demanding, it's just sort of mental stamina, like continuing to go on. I know that sounds kind of rather overprivileged, but, you go from one hotel to another, and it's sort of, as I always express it to the other two, it's like keeping this sense of self somehow as you move on through all these things. And, doing photography was a nice thing that took me out of the, total, I'm only in the band kind of feeling of existence, and was able to focus on other things. And writing was certainly one of my, I try to keep a journal going as I go around so I don't forget the whole thing.
Right.
So I don't do it as intently as I hope, but I definitely keep notes on everything. Of course, I'm photographing it all. So, it's just sort of a sideline. But, it's even difficult to do that because, I don't know, the days come, the days go, you exercise, you practice a bit, and then you got to go to the sound check. You find you haven't got as much time as you thought. So you just sort of work these things out as you go along and sort of hope that at the end maybe, you've got something that, at least in my case, that I took photographs, made notes, and I can, maybe do something creative with it, outside of, the actual creativity being in the band itself and doing these shows every night.
That's cool, and I'm sure you'll end up with material to use.
Oh yeah.
When you think back to your experiences here, you're one of the many bands that have come and actually gigged here in Honolulu and in the islands. Do you have any particular memory when you think of playing here that pops into your head?
Yeah, I do. Well, there's one day in particular, actually, that I remember that we were there with whoever the promoter was then, and well, it's a bit rock and roll, actually. No, he just got this incredible boat for us. I mean, we spent the whole day out in the ocean with about 30 very beautiful girls and various other things as well. That's the one we all remember. And somebody videoed the whole thing. I think it might have been in our original film we made. We were so gassed to actually be in Hawaii and all that for the first time in our lives. We were very taken with it, and it was sort of a heady experience. We were just like three English boys out of cold grey London, and suddenly we're in Hawaii. All these very, it's kind of filling out a stadium and having all these girls around. It was kind of a great experience. I know we went on very late at that stadium the last time we played there, and I think most of the audience were pretty out of it by that time. I think it'll be different this time. Sounds a bit more manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great...
So I love Hawaii. I've been there many, many times. I for many years I went to, with my kids, we started going to Kauai every Christmas, so I'm pretty familiar with the islands. Definitely looking forward to coming back.
When was the last time you were here?
The last time, it was probably about 3. Actually, I went to Kauai so many times, in the end I said I can never come back here again. I don't think that's quite true, but I became almost resident on the North Shore of Kauai. Then one year we went to Maui, another year I've been on a big island, I went to Lanai as well, This time I think I'm going to stay on in Honolulu with my family for a bit, just because it's been a long time since I've really spent any time in Honolulu.
Well,
but, yeah.
I hope that you have as much fun on your upcoming Honolulu trip as you previously
Well, it will
have.
be fun, because I got my kids, 2 of my sons are coming to Japan, so we're going to have a real adventure there, I think. We're in Japan for about 10 days and then fly back together to Hawaii, and then my other kids are coming over and so on and so forth. So we're planning actually, just as it's the end of this part of the tour, to stay on in Honolulu and enjoy the island. We're going to stay on Oahu.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's where I am, and since you're going to be here for a few days, do you think there's any chance you try to help me set up an in-person interview with you and maybe the other?
That might be possible.
That would be cool. Should I just email you about that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that would mean a lot to me, and I hope that you've enjoyed being my guest. It was a great treat to speak with you, Andy. And
all right, Dave.
I'm appreciative of your time very much.
All right. Well, maybe we'll meet on the island.
I look forward to it, man.
Okay. Aloha, it's Andy Summers of The Police, enjoying our friend Dave Lawrence's show, and I finally get my chance to say those magic words. Hey, brother Dave, I wish you and your army of fans a happy, healthy 420.